And welcome, everyone, to another edition of Quoth Raven. Lewis Bright Raven. I am your host, Lewis Bright Raven. And with me today is our guest of the night, Mark Andrew Smith, who is, for him, it is bright and early morning where he's at. What is it over there? 8 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning your time?
9 a.m. over in Asia.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I should be much more awake than I am, but it's a process, I think.
Oh, no, that's fine. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with Mark's work, Mark's been around for, about 15, 17 years now in the industry, I believe. I believe you started at Image around 2004, 2005. Is that correct?
Yeah,
sir?
that's right. I think I started writing in about 2001, and then I first got published in about 2004. So, yeah, I mean, it's been at least 16 years of being published and maybe about 20 years of writing, which is it's mind-boggling because I haven't done the math on that or crunched the numbers in a while. So,
oh, yes.
Wow.
Well, you'd be surprised how much work we do and then how much work we count versus what audiences count versus, what sells, what doesn't sell.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but yes, he's the creator and writer and editor. He's worked with Image Comics on, I believe your first book was it Amazing Joy Buzzards was your first book?
Yeah, that's right. Amazing Joy Buzzards.
And also Pop Gun, which he co-created and edited with Joe Keating.
Yeah, that's right.
Which was an award-winning anthology series. I believe there was 3 or 4 volumes of that series. And which awards did that win?
The first, I think the first one got the Eisner Award, and then we got the Harvey Award as well on it. So it got those 2 awards.
Okay. And what else did you do over at Image?
I did. Initially, we did New Brighton Archaeological Society Book 1, and then Gladstone's Book 1 was an Image for a while, and then something called Kill All Parents, like a one-shot.
Okay.
Then,
yes, I think I have some of that stuff set aside here. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and start that then with the. Let me get into this Google Drive fun stuff here.
Okay.
Amazing Joy Buzzards was your first stuff, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, then let's look at that real quick. And that is the Amazing Joy Buzzards. I have volume 1 depicted. Publisher was Image Comics. Your co-creator on this was Dan Hipp as the artist, and the genre, I call it rock and roll action adventure. Is that a good description?
Yeah, it's a perfect description. I mean, that's what it is.
Okay. What it's about is the Amazing Joy Buzzards are a rock and roll adventure band that battles evil in all forms. The group consists of Biff Ashby, Gabe Carlisle, and Steve Vargas. Unbeknownst to them, however, they're managed by Dalton Warner of the Creative International Artists Agency, which is really the Central Intelligence Agency, which I think is kind of cool. Warner uses the band's superstar status as a cover to get into places which he would normally not have access. And he uses their knack for defeating supernatural evils to his and the agency's advantage. I said recommend it for 15 and up. Is that an appropriate age group, you think, or does it go a little skewy, a little bit younger than that, in your opinion?
I'd say this book, because it's like black and white and it's not as colorful and poppy. I'd say about 15 up. And then the other thing is it's kind of like pastiche or postmodern, and then it has like so many movie references and cultural references, and then this younger generation of millennials, they haven't like seen all those movies, or they probably couldn't get the references. So it's kind of changed. I think it does skew a lot older because of that.
Okay, that's fair. Let's go ahead and show a little bit of artwork from that. If I can get this silly thing to work. This is from the first issue, I believe.
That's right. Yeah, we did the spot color with the pink in the first issue.
Yes, and I was a teenage Gia monster. Apparently, they're doing a show, a paid gig concert, and Steve-O, who's the guitarist, turns into a monster. I'm not going to say exactly how or why, because that would give away too much of the story. But yeah, I think that this is where
this brings back some memories. I remember like these were the first like comic pages I got in, in my mailbox. So
this
it was like a real treat.
This actually reminds me of Green Day. Was that intentional?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was.
Okay, because the lead singer looks just so much like Billy Armstrong, or is it Billy Joe Armstrong?
Yeah, Billy Joe Armstrong.
Yeah, it just like
with the tie and everything.
Yeah, it just reminded me of him when I saw it, and I was like, yeah, okay, I get this.
Yeah, then the guy in the glasses, kind of like Buddy Holly, and then
or the guy from Angel, Cuomo.
Yeah, like Rivers Cuomo, or Elvis Costello.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of a cool thing there. Let's see what else I have here on the review pages here. No, those are the only three on that particular one. So we're going to go ahead and go back to this. So that was your first pickup from Image and your first official work out there, you say. I'm trying to remember, did that book award win any awards, or is that just
no, it didn't. It went off the radar, and then I think it was like, even though it was black and white, it was still like a huge
it was
money suck. It was a big money suck for Image. So I think they sent us the sales report, and I think all in total for like printing the issues and printing like the first book and then the next one, I think it probably lost Image like $20,000 on it, I'd say. Yeah.
We're going to be talking about that a little bit later, the difference between working with Image and self-publishing, because you've done both.
Yeah, but at the same time, we didn't get anything from it. So,
right. Well,
we were just doing it for the love,
Yeah, well, that's what I want to try to have our audience understand is differences of, self-publishing is almost always done with a matter of heart and affection towards what you're doing. But when you're involved with an organization, whether it be Image or Dark Horse, which you've also been published through, there's other factors involved, other people's interests involved, rather than just your own. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that and your experiences with that, because I think a lot of people have been seeing and hearing the wrong information, if you know what I mean. They're and I think with your experience with different companies of that nature, which are very much different from one another, I think that you can give us a little more insight on that. But tell us about what it was like to come in Image as your first.
I think at the time it was really exciting because I'd been a fan as a kid, and I grew up on those books. So I think meeting Eric Larson was like really cool initially, and then I gave him samples at I think Long Beach Comic Con, and then him and Eric Stevenson greenlit the book. Mm-hmm. And then it felt like from there, like pretty big things were sort of going to happen, in the future with it. And, it never really did, like it was kind of fun to go to like the Image parties or whatever and all that and, do signings, but nothing really ever popped with the book that, the way that I hoped it had. We always got kind of pushed under or not promoted enough with it.
Interesting. Are you saying that about Joy Buzzers or just in general?
Joy Buzzers and in general as well, Yeah.
Okay. Hello, John Norris says. Hi there. And John's one of our regular viewers, and he's also our soundtrack guy. He
Okay.
helped
Hey,
me
John.
soundtrack. And I'm surprised he's actually here tonight. I thought he'd be out working his gig tonight because he's music director for Frosty the Snowman, I believe, for one of the local theatrical groups. So I figured he wouldn't be available tonight. That or be at church, one or the other. It's Wednesday. But it's cool to see you, John. And let's see. I think I got quite a few of your other products here. We'll start with the Aqua Leon. Or is it Leon or Lung?
Lung.
It is Lung? Okay. Aqua Lung original graphic novel, which was that was published in Image too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. That was, of course, written by Mark, and he collaborated with Paul Mayberry on this one. I called it fantasy adventure as a genre.
Yeah, I'd say that's accurate.
Okay. It was released in 2008, and what it's about was many ages ago, the kings of old murdered the one known as the Great Unifier of the Seas. Now, an average boy named Aqua emerges as the son of that great man. Faced with the legacy of his father, it's up to Aqua to learn of his savage past and bear the magic ring of the Unifier. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I recommended it for 13 and up.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, it's kind of disguised in like sort of a childish art style, but it's intentionally, I think, very violent. The contrast.
I wouldn't say childish at all. I think let's take a quick look at that art style real quick. These are a couple of pages that I got offline from Paul without any of the dialogue on them. I see it very much in the same styles, as I'm trying to think. Not Rick and Morty. There is some a little bit of Rick.
Yeah, it's more like cartoon or Cartoon Network or Adult Swim or like an animated type style, I'd say.
Or maybe what's its name? I'm trying to think of the guy who had a movie based on it too. Shoot, the one with Ramona Flowers is his girlfriend.
Yeah, Scott Pilgrim.
Scott Pilgrim, thank you. This is just the name of the statement. John says that Frosty resumes tomorrow night, and that he had no praise band rehearsal, so he was able to watch, which is cool. But tell us a little more about Aqua.
I think that was the second book we did at Image, and it's just a one shot, like 200 pages, and then we turned it in, and I think not much really happened with that, and we decided not to do like a second or a third volume with it because it's kind of a clash of personalities on that book, I'd say, because we didn't have an editor on it, so his girlfriend or whatever at the time edited it, and then because they changed stuff, he said that he co-wrote it, which he didn't. So that was like a bone of contention, and so we had a falling out on that book
I'm sorry
because of it. I should have just ponied up the money and hired an editor on that, and then I think it would have been safe. So that book's kind of like my Alan Smithy, where it's a book that I really hate.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
yeah, it's all right. I mean, it happens.
I thought it was a very good book. I can see what you're saying, where you might have had some conflicts, because being an editor myself, I can see possible, I wouldn't say inconsistencies, but just nuances that weren't entirely consistent. That if it was all you, would have been a little bit different, I think. That's
true.
And whereas if he actually did, I don't know about co-writer, type thing, I would say maybe, I don't know. That's hard to say because I've edited and I've ghostwritten for other writers. And of course, that's not what happened here. but they could have that could have been probably
it could have been avoided.
That could have,
and it should have been.
That could have been worked out, I think, if there was more communication on that. But I'm sorry to hear that happened.
Yeah.
That's
No, I think it's hard because I mean, early in the career or whatever, you're doing all these books, and you're doing it with like zero budget and no money, and calling in favors and everything, and then there's people like Kirkman who just get kind of handed and spoon fed everything, and then their books are making money. Kirkman got his ass wiped the entire time, and then he's like that 1,000-pound. He's like a wrecking ball, just moving around and stealing your artist, and you get your books canceled and everything. And he's got the budget, he's got the support, he's got the funding.
Don't mind me laughing, because I know exactly where you're coming from, and I love the fact that somebody besides me is ripping on Kirkman.
Yeah. Oh no, Kirkman's a bastard. And then he had the same falling out with the original Walking Dead artist, about some stuff like that, and then he just paid him the money, and nobody judged. Yeah,
that's not the original.
Nobody judged him about that.
Because that's not the original Walking Dead.
Oh, there's one before that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I didn't know that history.
Yeah, there's a long history. We'll have to talk about the history of zombie comics sometime.
Okay.
Another night.
So did he do Walking Dead like on his own then, and then or
there was a
he'd like work for hired somebody?
Walking Dead by Jim Somerville through Aircell a few years earlier.
Okay.
And they ignored that basically and just did his thing. But if you're familiar with Dead World, have you ever heard of Dead World?
I've heard of it. Yeah, it sounds familiar. Is it like a Western or something?
No. It's what basically he riffed to do Walking Dead, in my opinion.
Okay.
And a lot of other people's opinions. But we'll get, like I said, we'll talk about that another night. But
yeah. So, well, anyway, my point is that like those guys have all the money, and the Image guys have all the money, and I was just doing it for like zero. It's just like an ESL teacher living in like Korea, making like $2,000 a month, and like starting out in life, and I mean, some things you roll the dice and try, and they work, and some things you roll the dice and you try and they don't work. But I'd also like stand up for myself, in those instances, and that always doesn't come out in the best way, I'd say.
Yes. Okay. Well, let's go to one of your more recent successes, which would be Gladstone's School for World Conquerors.
Okay.
And that one started out at Image as a 6-issue miniseries, I believe. Let's see.
Yeah, I'd say 6 issues.
Let's see. I'm trying to get
Sounds
the right.
About right.
Trying to get the right. There it is. Trying to get the right camera on these things. I remember it coming out through Image, but never seeing it in my store. And I ended up getting a trade from Image. And
yeah, that sounds about right.
And I can remember, and I think I'm positive I gave John my copy of the trade when I got the hardcover. But I can remember just arguing with my retailers. Well, it didn't sell. How can it possibly sell when you didn't order it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was kind of my argument with them on that back in the day.
I think this book was kind of the breaking point for not wanting to go through Diamond again.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit too in a little bit. But let's talk about how cool this book actually is. This is the hardcover edition that you later self-published through. Is that Maneki Neko?
Maneki Neko. So it's like the cat statue in the stores that has like its paw up like that, and then has like the gold coin. It just means like kind of like fortune or luck for commerce in Japan. Okay.
This is Gladstone's School for World Conquerors, Book 1, Super Villainy 101 hardcover edition, written by Mark, and was drawn by who was supposed to be our guest this evening, Mr. Armand Villavert.
That's right, yep.
Unfortunately, Armand's day job gave him the last second rescheduling on him. And oh my gosh, did he have he was really like apologizing, bending over backwards. I'll ask Mark to take my place, please don't get mad. I was like, hey, it happens, But I call, I just be a smart aleck when I said genre super villain instead of superhero. But what it's about is the school is a top secret academy for the children of the world's greatest supervillains. This troop of would-be supervillains, led by KID Nefarious, are tired of seeing their parents get defeated by the heroes all the time and set out to defeat a superhero on their own. And they succeed, only to find out a horrible secret, one that will change everything they thought they knew about their parents, about being a villain, and will threaten the very existence of the Earth. I recommended this for ages 11 and up, for X-Men fans and Titans fans, especially those of you who were complaining that those titles aren't what they used to be, because this captures that kind of, I don't want to call it happy-go-lucky, but just that kind of energy that the 80s versions of those books had, in my opinion. I gave it 5 stars. And let's see. We'll go back to this one or this one. What else would you like to add to it, to the description of the book?
Yeah, I'd say it's just based on like a lot of supervillain tropes, and then putting those characters from those tropes together, in a core group. And it was meant to be like kind of more sort of pure, or like sort of innocent with fun humor, and then gradually, as the kids kind of learn more and more information, the tone shifts a little bit to reflect that, throughout the series.
Right. And instead of doing scans and looking up artwork, since I actually had the books handy, I'm going to show the artwork directly from the actual book here, if I can get the camera to go where I want it. Let's get a quick thing here real quick. This is the kids at the school, and that's a statue of Gladstone, the headmaster of the original headmaster, I guess, of the school, who the school is named after. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. That was the very first short story that we did, and it was kind of a warm up to get us used to kind of the universe and the characters. So that was a ton of fun to do, with Armand. I think he was doing a book called Zap before, and then it reached out on email.
Mm-hmm. And this is KID Nefarious pontificating.
Yeah.
He's basically doing a WWE Mike promo is what he's doing.
Yeah, the class is pretty much WWE promos.
I thought that
once he finally conquered the world.
Yeah, I thought that was just genius when you did that. I was like, hey, that's that makes sense. I like the coloring on this. I don't know who did the colors off this. I think there's several people who did colors on the first collection.
Yeah, on the first collection we mixed it up quite a bit, just so we had some variety, and we keep doing that. We keep like changing the colors up, because I think subconsciously you get kind of so used to like a particular color palette or color tone, and it is nice to have like a little bit of variety, throughout that, just sort of from issue to issue or section to section, so every part feels different.
And this is a recess with all
the recess scene. So we keep going back to that and just pulling different characters from that scene into like the story as it goes. So I think eventually we'll use every character, and Armand drew most of those just by itself on the spur of the moment. But we keep going back and picking characters from earlier in the book, and then giving them names and everything, and like whole stories. Should we give them
the secret, or is that too much of a giveaway?
I think at this point you can. It's not that much of a giveaway.
Okay. The secret that the kids learn is that everything's a work, and that their parents are actually meant to lose to the superheroes all the time, and they actually kill a villain, or kill a hero rather, in defeating him. And in the results is he's the only superhero that can face a hideous threat, which now they have to take the hero's place and try to battle this evil thing that's going to destroy the world. Instead of since they've destroyed the hero that could face off against this evil. And we're going to go to the second book, which is In the Shadow of Sharon. And again, this is an artist. This is a different artist than.
There's an artist switch on it.
Yeah,
I think initially we were thinking about it in terms of single issues, and then we kind of reached the conclusion of the story arc, and then we're still kind of had hope that we could keep the monthly schedule and maybe the numbers would pick up. And so we had Matthew Weldon come on just to buy some time, for the single issues to hopefully, he could just guest and then Armand could do the later ones or whatever. But it ended up like it didn't quite work out like that, and he just ended up drawing book 2, and then we just changed over to direct to the hardcover format.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the characters that we're seeing on the cover here. The gentleman with the KN is KID Nefarious.
That's right. Yeah.
He's kind of like I don't know. He's like this super evil magician, Halloween power type guy.
He's got dark matter energy. Then he's like a legacy villain. So his dad is like one of my favorite characters in the book, because his dad's like, I just kind of imagine him being like David Bowie, but with the super villain mask, kind of a la Labyrinth. And so he's kind of like one of the king super villains in that universe. But he's my favorite because, it's like kind of in life, if your parents accomplish something and then those aren't really your accomplishments, and then you kind of have to accept that at some point and then kind of forage on your own merits and your own endeavors.
The two right next to the left or to the right by our visual that are the twins. I can't remember the name of the twins right now.
Johann and Wilhelm Skoll.
Wilhelm Skoll? Skoll brothers.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
The Skoll brothers is the easiest way to say it.
Yeah, and the Skoll brothers are kind of like these evil versions of the twins from Harry Potter.
That's a good description. I'd say so.
Yeah,
and they kind of look like that under the mask.
The evil Weasleys.
Yeah, the evil Weasley's good. That's the first time I kind of put that together, but I like it. That it really fits.
The girl in front is Mummy Girl. I think that's kind of a given, I hope.
That's right. Yeah.
But she's a cool character.
She's cool. Yeah, I think we did like, I was kind of thinking initially of the classic Universal monsters, and then the Mummy came up, and ghosts and things like that. So I think was kind of the thinking, when they went into the book, and then they kind of just grew as their characters, more and more as the story progressed.
And let's see, we've got the green gentleman in the back is Martian Jones.
Yeah, that's right. And also, the Martian invasion sci-fi trope was another one for supervillains that I wanted to throw in there, when we're setting it up.
And our glowing girl is Ghost Girl.
Yep. She's eventually in the series, like book 7, she's going to get her nom de plume. So they get official names and characters, and she'll kind of level up, and we're doing something kind of cool with her in the future.
Well, don't give it away yet. You got quite a ways.
Right. Yeah.
For book 7, if we're only on book 3 for the books that have come out. And for the life of me, I am not remembering the name of the speedster.
Speed Spectre.
Speed Spectre. Okay.
Or the Speed Spectre. And I think the thinking with him was kind of like, what if there was a speedster, that had a Jedi swords or katana sabers? Like how deadly would that be? So, and he's a Filipino character.
Okay. Well, as the students learn about the consequences of defeating the hero Red Stormbreaker, they must now try to defend the Earth against Sharon, a cosmic destroyer who is preparing to eat the sun in a matter of weeks. They have to become heroes and defend the Earth themselves and try not to get killed in the process. Hey, sometimes you have to save the world before you can conquer it.
This is pretty good copy. I think we might get you to write the back cover copy for the trades if you're willing to do it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Again, this is teen superhero, supervillain action adventure. Let's show a little bit of the artwork real quick on the interior, because Matthew is a completely different art style from.
Yeah, he does a lot of cross-hatching type stuff, and he really puts a lot of detail into drawing hair too, which is really interesting.
Yeah, well, I like Matt's work. I just
yeah, I do too, and I like Armand's work as well as the
definitely
the original artist. Yeah, like that's a fun scene. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's see, do some more.
Yeah, it says KID NEFARIOUS' grandmother.
Yep.
Then there's the confrontation in the gymnasium.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to find where is Sharon in this? Is Sharon here in this one somewhere?
I think he's just at the end of book 1. You just see his eye, and then he's described in the flashback there.
Yeah.
There's kind of a picture of him. I think it's a double splash page with his grandmother, like right close to where you were. Okay. And then it kind of shows him, but you're never quite sure if what we're seeing is their imagination or if he'll look different when he shows up. Yeah, oh, it's a cute cat.
Yeah, okay. So I'm thinking dragon.
It might be, and there are stories of like celestial serpents devouring suns, during like eclipses and things like that. So I think, it'll kind of be like a dragon.
Yeah, my cat's going, hey, there's a book tag in here. I want to play with it. Yeah. That's my cat for you.
It's cute. Yeah.
This book was published strictly through yourself.
Maneki Neko. Yeah, that's right.
And was this available through? Yeah, this was available through Diamond, wasn't it?
Yeah, we sent that one out through Diamond, and then we sent the third one out through Diamond, but something happened, and then I think the numbers weren't that great, so I just said, okay, we're not doing it through Diamond, because what happens is the retailers get these, and then on Amazon or whatever, they'll just sell it at 50% what you sell it, so you just kind of cut into your own sales. So we just had enough of it, and we're like, okay, like Diamond's failed us like 4 or 5 times, and it's time. We'll just do this on our own.
Well, we'll get into that just a little bit more then here. After we'll show the third book, which is Scorpio Kane, which is book 3. And we return to Armand Villavert. Sometimes I call him Adam. I don't know why.
Yeah, he really, really just went to the mat on this one and just kicked all kinds of a butt. So this one's impressive.
Jessie Lamb colored this book.
Yeah, she colored the entire thing, which is also an amazing feat, I would say. Yes. She did a great job.
And in this particular chapter of the story, or I wouldn't call it a chapter, but the next 200 pages or so of the story, the kids learn the only way to defeat Sharan is to go on a cosmic quest to acquire special armor. Only a rival villain, Scorpio Kane, has eyes on the prize. Can the kids defeat a proven supervillain and acquire the armor? And can they do it without their parents realizing that this is not merely some school field trip? Or a school field trip. I didn't read that right. Sorry about that. But, yeah. Again, we have my copy of this. And I believe I ordered this through the Kickstarter. Is that?
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Through Kickstarter.
Yeah.
It's also on Amazon and our website right now. But I think Kickstarter is the primary mode of sales where we can kind of mobilize the troops and get everyone to act at once.
Who is Stephen?
Stephen Harrison. So he's kind of like our biggest fan, I'd say. I think he lives in Massachusetts, and he's like a big runner. And then he just supports the heck out of all of our books and buys multiple copies and likes all our posts and everything. So we did that for him just as a nice surprise. So he'd open the book and see that.
And this is kind of the. I don't know. Whoops, wrong way to the camera. I want to get the close up on Martian there, because you can tell this is almost like a animated shell shading coloring from Jesse.
Yeah.
On some of these panels, which is a really nice touch. It's different. Makes the artwork look much more.
Yeah, I'd say it does go back to animation or the like Hanna-Barbera cartoons or like Johnny Quest, where they did kind of the shell shading stuff on it.
Oh, I love this page. Bottom corner.
Yeah, that's a really cool.
And I got it there. Picking the wrong thing there. Here we go. He's going up against the thing, casts his dark matter storm spell, and then says, "Squee!" I'm like, really? That's what you say?
I think that this book was so fun because it is like there's like kind of a 200-page battle royale in it. So we kind of, in some of the books we're like, okay, what are their powers? What can they do?
The kind of manga.
Yeah, that's an awesome page. Jeez, it's been a while since I've looked at this. So, that's really badass. I'd say Armand and Jesse both kicked some butt on that page or those pages.
Yeah, but they're seeking out this armor. Tell us a little bit more about the armor, what you can.
So the armor is like this ancient cosmic battle suit, and then when it's fired up, the wearer of it can supposedly defeat the Star Eater dragon named Chiron. And then, but the armor was kind of so powerful that whoever had it, could go crazy or could just use it to seek dominance or power. So the pieces were kind of split up and hidden and are protected by different groups in some cases, so that it doesn't kind of tip the scales of power.
Okay. So this started out with Image. And then because, whether we want to say it's Diamond or retailers, there just wasn't a whole lot of support for this book. So you decided to go into and launch Maneki Neko. But this wasn't your first Maneki Neko book.
No, we did Sullivan Sluggers first, and that was a book where I knew the potential of Kickstarter and everything, so I set up all the interviews before and promotion, and it did gangbusters. But then I didn't have any publishing experience, or the book wasn't even finished at that point, and I got killed on international shipping, and then it was work for hire, so the artist was really angry with me to see those numbers, and they held the last 20 pages hostage for like 20 years, and then I get like these messages like, I hope you're not 20 years, sorry, for like the last the word 20 in my head.
I'm sure.
Okay, yeah, it felt like it, and it was really aggravating. It was like 4 years that the pages were held hostage on that.
Wow.
Just trying to get more cash.
Yeah, I do remember there was
from me,
commercial,
and then the artist was silent, but then all his friends were mobilizing on like places like 4chan or whatever, and all these articles came out, and they were just criticizing every single thing that I did and just trying to break me down. Eventually, because I think I only charged like $10 for international shipping, it cost more. We upgraded the size. I was just being like really bohemian and generous about it. Mm-hmm. And so the actual book was like an omnibus size with a slipcase and all these extras and everything. It ended up weighing 3 pounds, and I just copied the template from another Kickstarter that said international orders at $10. But we charged like $30 for that domestically, and $40 for shipping. And shipping, internationally was about $40 or $50. So I just got so beat up and banged up on that book. It was brutal.
More about Sullivan Sluggers.
Yeah, I ended up going to Saudi Arabia to get the rest of the cash and to get even on it. But since then, like, so many Kickstarters have done worse, and like they didn't follow through. And then if you ask people, it was like the Third Reich or the worst atrocities in the history of the world. And not one book has been sent, in their opinion, and like they're just the biggest crybabies about it. And I mean, other people have done such worse atrocities, and you're just waiting for books, but they never get called out, or nobody cares,
Yeah.
But
like I said, we'll talk a little bit more about that Sullivan Sluggers a little bit later in the show. But where can we get these Gladstone's books now? Currently,
they're on our site, www.gladstoneschool.com, and then also on Amazon. So chances are you'll probably end up ordering from us, and then we get the money from those.
Okay, let me see if I can put that in there real quick.
Yeah, our site's really, really sweet. We got this finally done last year.
You said www.
Gladstoneschool.com with no possessive apostrophe.
Right. That would be where we go.
Yep, that's right.
And
you can actually read the first 200-page book and download it digitally. Also, if you just sign up for our email newsletter.
Okay, that's a cool thing. So make sure you visit GladstoneSchool.com for that. And I can't remember what the prices were on these, because a friend of mine, in fact, I believe it was John, in fact, got the first 2 books from me off of Amazon.
Yeah, they're just they're $20, but the like book 1 and book 2 are 200 pages. So, I mean, on Kickstarter, you have some people offering like a 32-page floppy book for like $20, and we're doing like a 200-page, like really nicely printed and glossy hardcover. It took us like 6 years to make, for $20, and so I'd say it's a fair price for it.
And that has done well for you so far, from what
I it's done well, and we're able to finance and do more of them, which is good. So in this series, hopefully we'll finish the 6 books, and then after that, there's like a time skip, and then it kind of changes and becomes a little bit of a different series.
Okay.
With the main characters orbiting.
In the meantime, you've expanded the concept a little bit and let some other people in to play with the toys, so to speak.
Yeah, that's been fun. And initially, we just kind of let people we knew or our friends they come in and play with the characters, or do kind of like prequel stories or stories in between certain areas. And we just did the KID NEFARIOUS one shot, and that was good.
And that is exactly what we're gonna bring up next.
Okay, that's good.
And I think they're $10 a book. Is that correct?
That one's $10. So I think because we gave such value, we need to kind of charge a little bit more for these. And I mean, there's still a lot of production cost.
Right.
So I mean, go ahead.
I bought 6 for a little bit more less. I think it was 6 for 25. 6 copies.
Yeah, 6 for 25.
So it was more appropriate to the actual normal cost of a comic these days, which is usually $3.99, $4.99.
That's
the reason I did that was because I was hoping that by doing so, I could market the book locally to other retailers and have them, And I tried every retailer, like, well, we ordered it back when it was an image and it didn't show for us. And I'm like, dude, don't hand me that crap, because I was a guest.
Yeah.
I was there when the book came out, and I never saw it in your store. Who did you show me your orders? Show me.
I think the first single issue we sold about 5,000 copies, and there was almost talk of it going back to reprint, and then they decided not to do that. The second issue is about 3,000 copies, and then it just leveled around to 2,000 copies, where it was just like, this is brutal. So every kind of baby or child that we leave in the care of Diamond and retailers just gets strangled in the crib, before it can even be born.
So as a result, this is part of why you went to doing Maneki Neko and doing Kickstarters. And this was a Kickstarter project that was.
Yeah, that's right.
This was fulfilled back in August or September, if I'm not correct, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think we finished Kickstarting in July, and then the turnaround on this was really fast because when you print in China, it can take like 9 months, and then you have to do the freight, and there's a lot to do. And this, I think we used a printer called Avenue A in the U.S., and it took like 2 weeks. The presentation and the production quality was really nice, and so I really enjoy doing these one shots just because of the turnaround time, and then it's just pretty fast, and then you get all these cool extra stories. There
we go. Let's try to find the right camera angle again. This book was not written by you. This was written by one of your associates, Ryan L. Schrott.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm not familiar with Ryan. Artist was Matthew Weldon, who we'd seen on the second book, which was the Shadow of Sharon.
Yeah, I also did a book with Matthew called New Brighton Archaeological Society. Yeah, and then there's two hardcovers of that.
We're talking about that in a little bit.
Okay.
I've got pretty much I think I got almost all your stuff listed, but we want to talk about Gladstone's a little bit because it's what's fresh and available immediately. The colorist was Rodrigo Avilés.
That's right.
Or Avilés. Letters are Pat Purcell, who has been the letterer consistently through most of your books.
He's done a lot of stuff. He does Marvel and DC, and then I think he was doing like the Marvel bullpen stuff. When they were like hand lettering, and so on Facebook, I always see posts like he just wants people to mention the letters and put the name on the cover and everything. Right. So you can see the picture. His name's right there. So we're trying to
I think it's great
honor that.
There.
Yeah, but he does a good job. The lettering on Gladstone's is really intricate because every character has like a different style of speech balloon, and like if you look at the Skoll Brothers balloons versus Mummy Girls balloons are more hexagonal, or if that's the right word, and then like Ghost Girls balloons. He really goes down and to the mat and does the work and really kicks some butt on that. So I got to give him like a big shout out.
This one I actually did put the genre as superhero romance because of the storyline, so super villain. Because in this story, KID NEFARIOUS screws up in class and fails an assignment or a test, and as a result, hold on a second. Okay, that's my colorist trying to talk to me.
Okay,
that's cool. I'll get to him later. Anyway, he fails his midterm exam, and so he is punished by having to take a new identity, which is KID Victorious, if I remember correctly.
That's right, yeah.
And he has to face off against a female villain who wants to steal this artifact that gives powers. And he crushes on her, of course.
Yeah, kind of in a bad way.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, so we're going to show that a little bit here because this one I actually did have scans for.
I love this the superhero costume for KID Victorious.
Yes, we're going to show that.
The design's really, really good.
Yes, this is the office of Headmaster Ironsides, Villain Supreme, and he's explaining why the kid screwed up.
I love Ironsides because he's like this really intimidating figure, and then his hobby is baking muffins, and it's kind of like a feminine side.
I love the Game of Thrones chair he's sitting in.
Oh yeah, that's really sweet.
Yeah, it's like Ironsides reminds me of it's Iron Man meets Doctor Doom.
Yeah, I'd say pretty much. And then there's one actor that I imagine voicing him, and he was in this series called Rome, and then I think he was in a Punisher movie after Thomas Jane or whatever. But it's that guy who's like the voice that I hear when I'm writing him.
Yeah. Oh, hold on a second. There we go. And then here's a battle where he's facing off against the female whose name I cannot remember right off the top of my
I think
head.
it's Libetania or something like that.
Libertaria or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's kind of based on a character in maybe Greek mythology,
Mhm.
but
Let me see if
I looked it up quickly and then, because I didn't write it, it's not totally committed to memory.
Right. We're gonna
But
quickly. I'm gonna quickly here cut back to mine, and so that you guys can see the full costume he was talking about as Kid Victorious.
Yeah, I love the gold and kind of how it tapers off and the white. So I think that's definitely gonna sort of maybe influence future costumes down the road for Kid Nefarious, because we change up the costumes a lot. Because I think the X-Men is a big influence where they have like Wolverine's like brown and tan costume, or the blue and yellow from the Jim Lee years.
It's Libitina.
Libitina. Okay.
There we go.
That's right. Yeah, it's a cool page.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought that was really funny. That and this is his battle against her, and it's kind of a stalemate in this particular fight, because he has to show that he's the hero to the village, but he's really doesn't want to hurt her because he's a villain himself, and he thinks she's cute.
Yeah, it's probably at like 50% power.
Yeah, which I think is kind of funny, because doesn't he have a relationship with one of the girls in the troop?
So this is a prequel story. So it's before that started.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but he's still. Well, what I'm saying is earlier he's having like a dream of being with one of them in the story.
Oh, so okay, Mummy. I think Mummy Girl is having in the first book has a dream of being with him in like book 1.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think this story takes place like a few months before that, or before they kind of get together in their relationship, because I don't want to make him like a cheater, in that sense, even if he is a supervillain.
Yeah,
I think
really
good relationships are nice.
Was she? Of course, later in the story, he gives her the artifact.
Yeah,
and she takes off after she kind of like says, "Okay, thank you, douchebag." Punch, dummy. But what was hilarious is the end of it. And this is a one shot, but it also kind of leads to like it could go a little bit more to the story, because, his mom shows up at the end of the story, and
the dad too. So those characters have like a really kind of fun relationship.
Yeah, well, no, I think it's funny because I mean I know that the let me see if I can find it real quick here. Here we go. And that's coming soon. Is the Skull Brothers, but she's got the device, and she's like, "Sorry to interrupt," but
it's like knocked into Tuesday.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I just think that's kind of cool, because we really haven't seen what the parents actually can do yet.
Yeah, I think book 3 was the chance to see what the kids could potentially do, and then we're almost, because we're doing the one shots, we're thinking of doing like Gladstone's 1980s or 60s kind of Pixatone, Zipatone story, or kind of in the different styles of those eras with the characters. But I mean, that might be so far down the road, or there's so many ideas of things, and then the execution is another thing of actually being able to pull it off.
Okay, since we're talking about Kid Nefarious, I told everyone I bought 6 copies of these. Part of the reason I did that was to give some of the copies away as free prizes. So
okay.
What we're gonna do,
we kind of want to do like a Halloween thing where if there was a way to just massively print them as like Halloween giveaways in the neighborhood, that would be pretty cool. But it's like added to the pile of
Yes.
ideas, and then
The three of you
execution's
who are
another thing.
watching now, you need to say something in the chat. Say hello. Let us know who you are.
All right, let's see.
I'm waiting. Chance to win.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is 9 p.m. Maybe they'll catch it later, hopefully.
Yeah. And if that doesn't work, then what we will do is I will give another set of rules. But I'll give you guys another 2 or 3 minutes to post.
Okay.
And in the meantime, since this book is normally $10 buying online, hey, do you have how many more copies of these are left in your stock?
I think we printed 2,000 copies, and I think on Kickstarter we did about maybe like 500 copies, I'd say, total.
Okay, so they're in stock in case you guys want.
They're stock because we want to overprint just to be able to fund the rest of them. And we'll sell it again for about 10. I think we're going to do a double shot next time where it's Ghost Girl and Mummy Girl and kind of like a 50-page book, and then do that one for 20, and then offer the 10 one again, hopefully, just to keep funding them.
Okay.
Plus, the more you print, the greater the discount. But we could have done 3,000. That was like, okay, that's way too much.
Well, you gotta keep in mind what you've been selling too.
Yeah, that's true.
You're gonna let people see the artwork a little more again. I'm hoping that this story kind of gets continued, but I understand that you and Ryan had a falling out or something, maybe.
Wait, Ryan Schrott?
Yeah.
Oh no, we didn't.
Okay, I'd heard. Maybe I misheard or something. Okay.
No, I think maybe I mentioned that. We kind of just sent it to friends or whatever, but maybe people didn't have the biggest audience to really promote, or they just did it and there's like almost nothing on it on their social media or whatever.
It's so hard to market these things because anytime you want to market anything to any of these quote unquote comics news sites, I don't want to market your stuff. It's not through Diamond.
Yeah,
it's not this. It's not that.
That's true. But I think in the future, like, when we are considering who's going to write or draw the one shots, I think the social imprint is going to play more of a factor just to get somebody with an audience to pull their audience into our book.
Yeah.
So we hired David Michelin,
David
who co-created Venom. So he wrote a one shot, and then awesome. I think he wants someone with like more of a Marvel style. So we're still kind of waiting. We might see if Matthew can do it. And then, he has like, more of an established following. So hopefully he's a draw. But if we can do more stuff like that in the future, it'd be better.
Cool.
Yeah, I think Ryan's doing some book called S's for Suplex about independent wrestlers right now. But yeah, I mean, we're
in touch with you for later this week then.
Yeah, we're good. Like, there's no falling out. Like I like his posts on Facebook, and he likes my posts, so there's no big deal.
What it was at the time you were remember hearing this. I think you or someone else said you were frustrated with the fact that the marketing wasn't there, like you say, and I got the impression that somebody said that Ryan didn't try to market.
I might have said that, and that was a little bit rude, but it's also, honest, and then you can't really expect writers, because writers aren't always marketers, and sometimes they just want to just write and then have the marketing people do their job, and we should have
and when you don't have a marketing people, it's difficult.
Yeah, so I think in this day and age, you kind of have to be a writer and a marketer, or have the audience.
We have to wear all the hats when we're self-publishers.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, he did a great job on it, and I think he's a great guy.
For small press, we also have to kind of share the hat with the publisher, I think. But
yeah, that's true.
So there's that. But we have not. I have not seen any posts. So what I'm going to do instead, if you are interested in a chance to win the KID Nefarious book, the one shot, what you can do is email me at the email address you see below, quotheravenlbr72@gmail.com, with the word nefarious in it. That's NEFARIOUS, as in KID Nefarious. The first 3 people who email me at that email address with that and your email and your mailing address will receive a copy of this book and a sketch of the kid by me. Okay? That's what we're going to do. And I will also post this up on Facebook for people who aren't watching it live, so the faster the better for you. That's how we're going to handle that for now. And let's see. So that being said, there's also something else.
New Brighton?
You guys did something else with the giveaways with your books when you were doing the Kickstarters. Keychains with the tchotchkes or whatever.
Oh, yeah, Armand did the keychains. I haven't seen them, but that'd be pretty sweet to have one of those.
You've never seen the keychains?
I think I saw a photo of it, but I haven't seen it in person or
hold on,
touched it. But yeah, that is a nice bonus. We've been dropping the ball on merchandise a lot because it takes us 6 years to do like a $20 book, but in a day or 2 days, we can make a shirt or a keychain or anything else, and we can also sell that for 20. So yeah, we need to really get better at that.
Yeah, he surprised me when he goes, "Shh, don't tell anybody."
I think we do a lot of nice little gifts and things that for people that buy the books.
A little bit earlier on when I was doing the appearance over on Indie Volt, and he thought that was cool, and he thought that was really. It's like I haven't even taken him out of the bags yet, but
yeah, that's sweet. I love these little chibi figure versions of them too. That's awesome.
The little chibi KID Nefarious, and let's see, here's the 2 Skull Brothers.
Oh, those are so sweet. Yeah, I think our goal is get better merchandise, in the future to fund these things and get them out faster.
And there's Martian Jones.
That's so sweet.
I think this is an excellent little thing to have. I mean, I've seen these things, these type of keychains sell at shows all the time. So I was like, and I was like, wow, I mean, I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll hold on to them.
I think we just give them away, but we never really charge for them. So we got to get merch that we add on, and then get a little extra for it. That's sweet.
You could sell these for $2-3 each, dude.
Yeah, I think we could sell this out pretty easily.
Yeah.
And then we got shirts hopefully ready for the next one. It's a Gladstone's athletic department.
Yeah, I mean, you really need to get the. I mean, if you guys, get going, I mean, you could sell lots of these. But yeah, I was really impressed when I got these. I was like, hey, I wasn't expecting this. What's this? Yeah. But yeah, I was really pleased with that. I don't remember if that came with the KID Nefarious book or that came with the Thinking with
think
Kid
he,
Nefarious book.
yeah, I think in the Amazon orders too that he ships out, he'll like sneak a keychain in there, which is nice. People like that, or sign the books or write a little nice note or to people.
Oh yeah.
I think when they see that, then it's like a personal connection, and it goes much further.
Okay. Well, since we're talking about that particular book. Let's talk a little bit about the differences, since this particular book was through Image originally.
Okay.
And you went and did diamond solicitations through Maneki Neko on your own self-publishing, and then you went to the Kickstarter, or a combination of the two. Talk a little bit about the differences of how doing it through Image versus doing it on your own through Diamond.
I think Image isn't that much different from doing it on your own, except that you have to just have like your own production person, and we have Josh Aiken, who's done a great job of kind of laying out everything and putting the books together. But I mean, you have to have the colors and the files and everything kind of laid out and set out a certain way, and then I guess at Image they put up the money, but your job is to just do all the promotion and everything, and then it gets more eyes in previews or whatever, but it's still always fall short every single time. So I think just doing it on your own, you have the books, and then you get to have the say about how exactly it's printed, and it's just a really hands-on experience, which is nice, but it also takes a while, because if you're printing in China or whatever.
Right. Well, when you say they're fronting the money, they're paying. What are they paying for exactly?
They pay for the printing, and then they have their deal with Diamond, but they don't really pay that much for promotion. So it's just strictly printing that they pay for. So if you have costs on the book or colors, and they don't pay any of that.
You're paying the creative side, they're paying the production side, printing, and then what happens on the back end is they get their fee plus whatever for printing, and then if there's any profit after that's been paid, that's what you guys receive.
Or if there's a loss, from printing and it doesn't sell enough to cover the printing, then they absorb that loss. But
they absorb it.
They absorb any printing loss if.
Oh wow!
So say it prints and it doesn't sell enough, and then there's like a $2,000 deficit. Like you don't get a bill for that. They absorb that. But at the same time, if that happens, and say we've spent like $10,000 on coloring, for a book or whatever, that's 200 pages at like 50 or 60 a page, we're left with that bill, and that's just a huge blow and impact on us. And it's like, great, we're not allowed to complain or even be angry about that.
Right. Well, I mean, so there's some pluses to it, but there's also, it's give and take. Well, I think that.
I'd say so. And then before, I would say that the direct market is just so oversaturated and flooded, but I'd say Kickstarter is too now as well, where you really have to kind of just push, and stand out. So it's
to doing it on your own with Diamond. Obviously, you had to pay for your own advertising.
No, we didn't pay anything.
You didn't?
So we solicited it.
Okay,
didn't have to pay anything.
You didn't actually buy advertising. You just got your normal slot in the catalog. Got it.
That's right. And we probably sold like maybe 100 copies of each book. But then those popped up on Amazon later, and they were really eating into our sales. So on book 3, we solicited initially, and I think we could have got like a $2,000 check, but it was like a little bit late, so they're going to make it returnable. So it's just like, I don't want to see those retailer copies, selling on Amazon for less. So I'm just going to forgo the $2,000, and we'll make it up a little bit later.
Okay. So that's what your experience has been, is that the retailers either don't order or they order and then sell it under it because they say they can't sell the book, so they put it on Amazon or online.
Yeah, because they have their brick and mortar, but they're also in the online game. And if it's just brick and mortar and it stays there, that's fine. But if it goes back to you and just boomerangs back online, and then you're competing against that, and they got a 50% cut, it just doesn't quite feel right. And then your book's lost, in terms of being one of the sellers for that. So right now for book 3, we're the only seller on Amazon, which is good. Okay. I like that.
All right. Well, that's a fair. I know a lot of retailers like to criticize the indies, and I've seen a lot of them talking about how Kickstarter is killing the brick and mortar stores. And I'm thinking,
yeah, well, they never did anything for us, and our book died in their hands, so we owe them nothing.
That's kind of my point.
And now it's become like aggressive malice, where we owe them more than nothing.
Aggressive malice towards them. It's just the notion that part of the reason that's there is because so many of us have tried to go through them and work with them. It hasn't happened.
And then there's still that crazy entitlement too. And then even buyers are like, no, I want to support my local comic shop. And it's just like, you're cutting off the base source of this, and we need to recoup our cash, and we're going to get 50% of that. And so like, we have to suffer to support someone that just cuts off the numbers and tapers them until we die. And it's like, no,
See, I don't know what to say on that, because like I said, when I started in this business back in the early 90s, I did underground comics at first. I didn't have the capital to even go through Diamond, or at that time there was Capital and Friendly Franks and the other distributors were still available, but I didn't have the capital base. And so I was doing it, groundswell, going from store to store. And a lot of these retailers, comic retailers, are like, oh, I can't sell your book. It's black and white don't sell. This is the wrong type of format. This is wrong. That's wrong. And I said, okay, if this is how we're going to do this, I'll just go to other local businesses in the community around you. And that's how I built an audience. It wasn't a huge audience. I mean, a lot of, I did okay. I maxed out on some of the books around 6,500 units.
Okay, that's good. That's really solid.
Yeah, but, it wasn't like I was making a living, doing it is what I was doing for about a year and a half, 2 years on that. And then I left college and I went to a new area, and I couldn't rebuild the market because where I moved to was out in the middle of the desert, and there was nobody to sell to.
Yeah.
But, then I went on to webcomics back in the late 90s, which was before the new web platforms, long before all the stuff like Webtoons and Comixology were around. And I did okay on that for a little while as well. But every time I tried to market it, whether it was through Comic Book Resources or Wizard Online or any of the comics news sources, it was always like, let me erase your post because that's spamming our site, and nobody wants to read about your crap anyway. And in the meantime, it's like, what have you ever done? Well, maybe if you left my post alone, people would know what the hell I've done.
Yeah.
So,
I think the comics journalism site, I mean, usually they just do like movies now, and because that kind of draws attention and gets the traffic over there. And then just to write about anything that is, labor and time. So it is really hard for them to write about anything that is independent, or, it's like giving their traffic to you when they're just taking all this popular stuff and just getting the traffic from the fan base for that. So it's pretty interesting. I kind of would like to do like some kind of site or something where it's just about original content, that's really glossy or whatever. And
okay, we're gonna
get that out there.
Absolutely, we're gonna talk a little bit more about some of your additional works. This is one of the anthologies that we had talked about earlier, called Pop Gun. There was 4 volumes between 2007 and 2010. and you were the co-curator with Joe Keating on this, shall we say?
Yeah, that's right.
Um, I got the point that there was no theme given to contributors, and it was more like just the point of diversity of content.
I think the idea was like a comic book mixtape, with different tracks. So there was kind of like sort of a music element, and then also how you do take a mixtape and kind of edit the sequence or the order, just in relationship to what becomes before or what comes after. I think that was kind of at play.
And this series did win the Harvey Award for Best Anthology twice won Harvey Award for Best Anthology.
Yeah, and we also had a third editor named DJ Kirkbride, and he really
I know who DJ
on the later ones. Yeah, he did a lot of the heavy lifting, and
I didn't know.
I don't think he got enough credit for it at the time.
Well, thank you for mentioning that. If I'd known, I would have certainly credited him. I put writers and artists various and genre various for I hope what are obvious reasons.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, he did. I think more of the hands-on like proofing and editing. I think he was with us from book 1, and then book 4 he just took it over, and I think with Adam P. Nave was the other person on it, and they just went and did it on their own, and we were kind of just handed it over.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I remember seeing in volume 1, and I don't think I saw the other volumes myself. Again,
there's 4. Yeah, they're like 400 pages each. So they're massive, and then I think it retailed for about $20. Which is
I think they were $29.99 for the.
Maybe $30. Yeah.
I don't remember exactly, but I gave it a 5-star. This and Dark Horse Presents were the 2 best anthology series in probably. Well, I'd have to add a negative burn from Caliber as well. Those are the 3 best anthology series that comics has had in the last 2 decades.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just, I don't know if it's because people just don't like anthologies and diversity.
I think with anthologies, there's usually kind of like a weaker element. So you have to like sort of almost mercilessly, if you get something bad, just toss it out of the anthology, and then you're usually not too popular with people. Like when you do that, like there's a lot of resentment there.
Well, there's a difference between inviting someone to be part of it and actually approving what's submitted.
Yeah, and if you're a good editor, you can catch it before it gets like too out of control, or get this guy and that guy together, and then
exactly. And having done that sort of thing, because when I started out doing. I don't know if you know what an apazine is.
An apazine?
An apazine.
Apazine. No.
Okay. They were like fanzines by a group of people, 20 or 30 people would submit every issue.
Okay.
Articles, and other stuff. And that's where I started back in the early 90s. Was focused on super teams. But then I went into college and we started doing a variety of stuff from all genre and styles, because the idea was to get everybody who was in this group professionally published eventually, if that's what they really wanted. And so that was kind of like me being president of the group. That was my, responsibility, was to say, no, this isn't good enough. No,
Yeah.
And being in college, we were also a student organization. So I also had to answer to the educational mentor representative for the group, and I had to listen to what was being said for what they wanted, because we had one guy that submitted some really X-rated material, very inappropriate, and not anything close to what we were doing. And the school was like, "You can't publish this, or we won't pay for the publication, pay for the printing." And so I'm like, well, I'm down with that because I think it's trash anyway. But
Yeah, they say that
but
in Europe they don't like
I got
violence,
so
and then
mad.
in America they don't like sex in the
Well,
comics.
this had nothing to do with sex. This was just, I mean, this made Michael Diana look tame.
Okay.
That's the best. And for those of you who don't know who Michael Diana was, Michael Diana did some comics that were considered pornographic, and he got banned from doing comics by the state of Florida.
Okay, I think I've heard of that. Maybe the comic book legal defense fund or whatever did
Yeah,
something with that.
they tried to defend him. He did a book called Boiled Angel.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, this is the kind of level of stuff this guy was doing, and he got kicked out of school over it. They kicked him out of the school over it because he fought over that, and then recently he tried to hack my account on Facebook.
All right.
Which Facebook didn't approve of, and I didn't approve of, and a few other things. And now he's got some legal issues he's dealing with. But that's life. Yeah, that's where I started with that type of anthology type work, and so I always appreciated what you guys did at Pop Gun. I just never got to see it much because at the time you guys came out, I was just coming out of the back end of a really bad financial stretch. My parents both suffered heart attacks, and I had to pretty much put all my money into trying to help pay their bills, which didn't really do much of anything. We ended up losing our home, going homeless for a while.
That's terrible.
And so I didn't buy comics for a little bit, and I was just coming out of that. And I was like, well, I would like to get it, but I'm not financially stable, but
yeah, that's reasonable and understandable. Yeah. I think for me, the reason I don't buy stuff is because I travel so much. So I really have to throw out everything and get my life into just different, like a suitcase or two suitcases, and go to this next country for my job,
Yes. Speaking of your job, you are a teacher of English as a second language to foreign speakers. Ironically, I used to teach ESL at community colleges back from 99 to 2001, 2002.
Wow. Were you full-time or adjunct?
I was an adjunct.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why I didn't need to have the qualifications you do.
Yeah, I think
you have to have
most of the work is adjunct, but it'd be pretty sweet to get a full-time job, because I'm kind of sick of traveling at this point. But
right.
There's that stuff on the horizon, which is good.
Yes. Well, what Mark has is a master's degree, and in that specific field. I don't have that background. I have an educational background in my degree, but I was a literary analysis and criticism for editing, creative writing for writing.
No, that's a pretty solid major, though. I saw a job that was like 70,000 or 80,000.
But I did get an educational subgroup so I could teach as well. It just wasn't that specific to that, but because I could do it a little bit, and I knew I could speak a little bit of different languages at the time. I could handle it. But it's a little bit different from what you do, because you've gone over to Saudi Arabia and Afghanistan and worked with people in those countries.
Yeah, in a military context.
Right, in the military context, as well as is it all military, or is it subcontracted to other things as well?
So usually with Saudi Arabia, they buy our planes and our jets or whatever through these defense companies, and then we have to, there has to be people to fix the planes, and they want their local nationals to be able to do that. So they start English training, from book 1, and then get up to book 30, and then hopefully go to the U.S. for follow-on training. And then in Afghanistan, it's very different, because we're giving them Blackhawks and Chinooks and C-130s, Super Tucanos, so that they can defend their country. And then training these guys in English and aviation FAM courses, and also mechanical
there's a very,
familiarization
very
courses.
context of what you're teaching compared
Yeah,
to
it is. And
because what I was teaching was more for the people that come to our country who need to learn English as part of their steps towards earning citizenship.
yeah.
So a lot of what I did when I was teaching is I would take comics and wipe out all the words in the comics and say, okay, read the comic as what you see visually in the story, write it in your language, what you think is the story, now translate it to English for me.
I've done that with Calvin and Hobbes. Just photocopy it, do the whiteout, and
yep.
But usually the results are pretty funny, and
that's it. Everybody
yeah.
enjoys it because you see how they all understand visual dynamics differently.
Yeah.
So and it makes them interested in not just reading our genre of comics, it makes them interested in reading. And that's one of the big steps in learning any language is having not because even though we do a lot of phonetic work with what we do with teaching, just because you speak it doesn't mean you comprehend it. And
that's true. Yeah.
And so that's one of the things I always wanted to address when I was teaching. And I thought, as someone who's done this, you say you used Calvin and Hobbes. Did you use other things too, or?
I think it was pretty much Calvin and Hobbes, and then the books I've written are too advanced and just too, they're not graded. So you should have like sort of graded readers, and then there's authentic materials where they're just like for native speakers. So I think my stuff, I've never really been able to use it in the classroom. And then I wrote about that for my graduate school portfolio too.
Yeah, that's a cool thing though. Yeah. Okay. So I know you're currently in Thailand because, well, you're waiting for
the end of the tax year. Yeah, to go back to the U.S.
So you can come back. And I was also, how many different countries have you worked in?
So I started off in 2007. I went to South Korea for 4 years total. Okay. And then I was in Taiwan for a year. Thailand about 2.5 years teaching, and then Saudi Arabia for about 2 years total. Then Afghanistan for 1 year or about 13 months.
Okay. Because I got another friend who teaches. I don't know if I know he teaches in South Korea. He's actually living in South Korea with his wife and
South Korea is nice. Great food, and then pretty comfortable lifestyle and culture. So I miss it. And now with the master's degree, I could go back and get a university job. But I think I'm more motivated by money right now at this point in my life, and just buying that house and doing the deposit and renting it out or whatever. So probably till I'm like 50. I think my 40s are just gonna be more financially motivated, and then I'll probably take a break and do like a fun year here and there.
That's cool. You mentioned another book that you did for Image, Kill All Parents.
Yeah, that's right.
And
one shot.
Yes, it was a one shot, and that would be this one. You did that with Marcelo. How does he pronounce his last name?
DiChiara. As far as I know, I could be butchering it.
I've actually inked him on some other things in the past.
Okay. Yeah, I think he's doing some DC work right now.
Actually, it was. I think he was. What was it? I think he did some test pencils, or he worked on something for Marvel Adventures, maybe.
Okay. I wouldn't doubt it. He's good. He kind of has the in-house style. A little bit.
I think it was Marvel Adventures Fantastic Four, if I remember. I could be wrong though.
He's also drew the Skull Brothers one shot. It's going to be one of the next things we release.
Wait, but this was back in June of 2008.
That is, but he the new Skull Brothers one shot. Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about Kill All Parents. We'll talk about Skull Brothers in a second.
Okay.
Yeah, I want people to see the history here of your work. Plus, I also want to show people that there's a lot of cool stuff they're missing out on.
Yeah, this one you really have to dig in the back issue bins to to find this. I think I don't even have a copy.
Larger book. I think this is a 36 or a 46 page story.
Yeah, I think it was about maybe 46 pages.
Yeah. And it was a one shot, and it's about a demented governmental scientist has a plan to stop all supervillains by killing the parents of every child who has superpowers so that they will in turn become superheroes.
Yeah.
My response was, oh, yeah, that's a smart idea until the truth comes out.
Yep. When you got some own enough to do. But
I gave this one a 3-star. I think it's one of your earlier works. I think this is a little bit. It's just not as strong as some of your other stuff. In my opinion.
Yeah, that's fair. I think it was more.
The characters are very interesting, but I think it's just a little bit too one-dimensional of a concept.
Yeah, and I think the characters are just more generic ripoffs of other characters, but the theme of like, just the origin story, kind of like Cabin in the Woods or whatever, of just universal themes and tropes of losing the parents or whatever. That was kind of interesting for me. But I think at the same time, I was trying to be like too edgy maybe in some of it.
I don't know. I said, what did I say? 11 and up for this, or let me look real quick again. 13 and up is what I said for the readership.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. So let me see here. I want to check something real quick if I can. And it's doing something silly. We've covered Aqualung, Amazing Joe Brothers, GLADSTONE'S, Pop Gun. Okay, I think we've covered everything except for the one that we did through Dark Horse, reprinted through Dark Horse, which would be Sullivan Sluggers.
Oh, and yeah, we missed New Brighton too.
Oh,
but that's
sorry.
fine.
No. Go talk about New Brighton. I forgot about that one. I mean,
New Brighton was the first initially published through Image, and I did that with Matthew Weldon, and since then we've also published 2 books, like really nice hardcovers through Maneki Neko, and I think I wrote the entire 3rd book, but I think he's kind of he's doing another project right now called Punchline, so it's a little frustrating. I don't know if he's going to get back to it, but I've been trying to talk to him into like, okay, could you just do like 50 pages, a year, and then in like 2 or 3 years we'll have the next book. So I got to kind of figure that out in terms of like maybe we'll strike a deal and somebody else will draw it or what. But that book's pretty important to me, and it's really kind of wholesome, and you can give anyone that book, age 8 or 6 to like 100. I can show my grandpa that book, and he enjoys it.
Okay.
Well, that's one I'm really proud of.
Available through your store, or are you sold out on
it? Yeah, it's on the GLADSTONE'S website, so we have that as well. And hopefully, if Matthew and I just kind of touch base or come to some agreement where it gets back on his radar soon, then
again,
I'd really like to finish that.
Whether it's the New Brighton Archaeological Society or Gladstone School for World Conquerors. Probably some other stuff as well. You can go to GladstoneSchool.com and check out those books and order them from Mark and whoever else is fulfilling those. Is that Armand mostly holding that stuff?
Yeah, Armand has it, so he'll send it out.
Okay. And we're nearing the end of things. What are you reading these days? I know you're so it makes it a little bit different for you because it's not like you have access to comic shops.
Well, no, there's a really nice store here called Kinokuniya. It's in the U.S. also, but it's like a Japanese store. So they have a massive graphic novel collection, but I haven't been reading that. So I've been reading like complete Sherlock Holmes right now. And then I read this Bram Stoker book, The Lair of the White Worm.
Okay.
Just kind of more classics right now, but that'll change. I think I went through like a fantasy stage where last year I was reading a lot of Michael Moorcock. I really like Patrick Rothfuss's In the Name of the Wind series or the Kingkiller Chronicles. Like that was one of my favorites. Yeah, just kind of a smorgasbord of stuff, I'd say. But not so much comics. I picked up Assassination Classroom recently, the manga, but I haven't opened that or started reading that yet.
Yeah. Well, it's hard. I mean, I get books every week, and yet I could be a year and a half behind on the actual series.
Yeah, or I'll even support Kickstarters, and then I'll never read them. Unfortunately, because I'll get distracted with work, or when I was in Afghanistan, I was just worried about
I'll give you a perfectly
what was going on there from day to day.
Yeah, I'll give you a perfectly good example. Here's a book I get every issue of, House of Whispers from DC. This is issue number 16, and I think I've read through issue 5 so far.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But I get it, and part of the reason I get it is because I know the writer, Nalo Hopkinson, and it's like I want to support her. But it's just I got so much other stuff I'm doing, I just haven't gotten back to her.
Yeah, I think some stuff falls by the wayside, and also, when we're working or whatever, sometimes you won't pick up the Kindle for like a month or whatever, because you just get so involved in life. But right now, I'm making good progress on being able to just read as a habit, which is good.
Sure. Did you going back to Image anytime soon, or are you done with Image?
I think I'm done with them. There's no way I'll go back. Yeah, and I'm happy with that. I like self-publishing, so I think that's just the way to go. But
well, I don't know
how many books I have in me at this point. I mean, it could be like a few more things, and then I might try a different medium, or maybe just try to self shows to Netflix or something like that.
Hey,
yeah,
why not? But Sullivan Sluggers, you did get that reprinted through Dark Horse.
Yeah, I did that through Dark Horse.
And you said you had issues with the artist on that, which is
I did. The reason I did it through Dark Horse was just it's legitimate. It's like a company, with a brand and a name, and so I think if people see it through Dark Horse, then all the rumors and everything kind of subsides, and it kind of lets the legend die and sort of finalizes it. But it didn't really make anything at Dark Horse, which is what I expected. But
well, what was kind of a difference there? I mean, obviously they held a different type of contract than Image.
Yeah, they gave us an advance, and we sent them the files, and then they redid the interior artwork and the layouts. They did a pretty good job on it. I'd say their printing is pretty respectable. And then they did a smaller size format, and I think they dropped the price down to $20, and you can actually pick it up on Amazon for about $13. But that was kind of good finality for it. It'd be like, okay, this thing's done. I completed everything on my end, and just drag that cross, as far as I could, and did everything. But yeah, that's why.
Well, we've been talking about your career, and we've been talking about different things with different publishers. And you helped bring in a lot of people through Pop Gun with Joe and the other and DJ, and I think you said another person was involved in editorial on there.
Yeah, on book 4 is Adam P. Nave.
Okay, Adam P. Nave, yes.
Yeah.
I think I know you helped bring in Jim Zubkovich with Skull Kickers.
Yeah, we greenlit the first Skull Kicker story, and I think it was Pop Gun Volume 1.
And Jim and quite a few other writers out there these days, they got like 4 to 10 books out on the market at the same time.
Yeah, that's the Kirkman thing, where Kirkman was doing that, and then people try to replicate that. And I've never been able to do it. Everything just the wheels fall off the bus, and one thing goes that way or that way.
Well, I don't know if it's the Kirkman thing as so much as it's actually the Bendis thing, because Bendis was before Kirkman.
Okay, yeah, it's the Bendis thing then. Okay,
but the thing is, what I was getting at was a lot of these guys are like, I have to do my Marvel books or my DC books in order to pay for my Image book or my other book.
Uh-huh.
And I was kind of wondering, if that was something that you ever thought about, or if you even had any real contact with Marvel or DC because of your work. Has anybody even approached you? Or
no, and I'm fine with that because I mean those characters have been around for forever, and it's not really that interesting for me. I like to just start, just from my own ideas and then work from there. But in terms of like, you need to do comics to make something of your own, just learn a trade, become a carpenter, make shingle roofs, do something that makes money. Because I think if you're doing comics or whatever, it could be peanuts.
Make money to do the comics I want to make.
Yeah, just to become a doctor, or a lawyer, get a good profession, and hopefully your wife is cool,
That's funny because there are people who are actual doctors, actual lawyers, who now write 5 or 6 books a month.
That's right, but I think in terms of like your earning potential or whatever, like if you're doing that to make money to do more comics, it's like, well, why don't you just get the best job that you can and get your normal career going well, and then do it that way.
Yeah.
But I think the thinking of like, I got to do comics and these things have to be the thing that makes me money, that's tripped me up so much over the years and caused me so much undue anxiety. So I mean, it is like, okay, get your normal life going good and get everything kind of set up there, and then when that's working, then you do these projects that you're passionate about, on your own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's actually a pretty good advice.
Mm-hmm.
That because I see so many people, in this business that are almost trying to justify to me that they have, this is why I do this, and it's like, yeah, but you may be doing 10 comics, but look at the sales of all of them. If you could just focus on one and do it really top notch, maybe you could get some stuff. I don't know. Whereas, yes, you're getting paid a paycheck if you're working for Marvel or DC or Valiant or whoever that actually pays a script rate or a page rate for art.
And then even with like how long it takes me, and then when you first kind of output the idea,
Mm-hmm.
you do that, then the editing part is so tedious and all that. And, I mean, sometimes like it's impossible to put a money value, on something like that. And I mean, for the time and everything, I could just pay somebody that does have the enthusiasm, like at that particular moment, to just come in and, a script shows up in my box like a week later, and I paid him this much money, and it would have taken like 10 times the money, out of my own pocket, or taken time off, or just using up my weekend. So it's kind of a weird scalable equation of everything, where you can just pull out the graphs and see like about happiness versus money, versus if there is any money, versus if you could just hire somebody to do it just quicker, and save yourself the stress.
Yeah.
So I think if you separate kind of the commodification of writing and the money from it, that you're at least going to be happy,
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, well, we're going to call that a night for, unless you have some other stuff you'd like to add.
No, I'll say goodbye to Armand, because in case he watches, and I should have probably talked about him a lot more on here. But that's good.
I'm going to get Armand when he gets his time off.
I think he'd be a great guest, and it's really
because I've always wanted him on here since I started, and we're going to talk a little bit about his history and before he teamed up with you and stuff. So he'll get his day in the spotlight. I promise.
All right, sounds good.
It might take until next month, next year, but in fact,
I think he's got some time in January. I think on his schedule.
He said he's taking 3 weeks off, and to focus on drawing the next book he's on for you for GLADSTONE'S. In fact.
Yeah, that's right. Book 4. Yeah, book 4 has a really detailed opening, so I hope he really kicks butt on that.
But if it's at a stage that you're both comfortable sharing as a preview, we can do that too. So we'll see.
Yeah, no, he's finishing the Martian Jones one shot right now, and then he's doing a Speed Spectre story, and then once he's done with that, then book 4 starts, and
okay,
we just dive into that.
Well, then we can probably do a little bit of preview of Martian Jones or something.
That'd be really cool.
We'll work it out.
We've got stuff for all the one shots, so and they're going through the coloring stages. So the Mummy Girl colors is like that one shot looks just awesome right now. I'm really excited about that, and I read the script recently again, and it's funny.
Cool, very cool. Well, I want to thank you, Mark Andrew Smith, for being my guest tonight on Quoth the Raven. And
okay, thank you, Raven.
And we will definitely keep promoting Gladstone's and the spinoff series here at the show. And
Appreciate it.
Like I said, if you have liked any of the content that you've seen that we've talked about, that is available at Mark's store website at GLADSTONE'S.com. That is where to find it, first and foremost. If you can't find it there, go ahead and look on it on Amazon, I guess. That'd be the best bet. Keep up with me here at Quoth the Raven. Every time these guys have Kickstarters or Indiegogos, I'll be mentioning them here at the show as well, so that you can get that stuff as well as the goodies like those keychains or
that's right.
T-shirts, whatever they happen to have for their special gifts. They'll go with those campaigns when those come out. And I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit briefly. I did show that I got House of Whispers this week. I didn't buy a whole lot this week. That's why I didn't do reviews before we had Mark on. But I also got Triage, which I've talked about before on the show, and Far Sector, which we just talked about a couple weeks ago, which was number 2. And I haven't had a chance to read any of those yet, but I will talk about them next week. And we'll do a quick talk about our sales and stuff. But for now, I'm going to call a night with Mark, and or actually, good morning for you, because it's what still.
Yeah, that's right. I got to figure out what to get up to today.
Yeah.
Maybe a swim, or I think I'm gonna look for a new gym, or maybe do some Muay Thai classes over the next 2 or 3 weeks if I'm gonna be here or not be here, just depending on career stuff.
Yep. Well, I know you were saying you were gonna have a possible job coming up in the States, so I hope that works out.
Yeah, I really hope I get that one, because that'd be sweet. But then the other thing I'm looking forward to, it doesn't start till June, so that's a ways away. So I'd have to do something in the meantime. Yep.
Well, I thank you for coming on to the show once more, and we'll bid you for now, and we'll keep in touch through Facebook and other channels for now.
Okay. Thank you for having me.
Oh,
all right. Good talking with you.
Yep. And we'll see you later. And again, that was Mark Andrew Smith, writer and creator and publisher of Gladstone's School for World Conquerors and other projects from Maneki Neko Books and Image Comics in the past as well. In closing, before we head out for the night, I want to remind everyone that we do have the holiday sale at my page. And let's see if we can get that shared with you guys real quick. There we go. And this is the last day of it. Pretty much, it's actually tomorrow will be the last day, the 12th. Not going to be able to take any more commissions or original sketches. All I've got time for is the art books and poster prints. So we're going to quickly take a quick look at what's still available. We have the art book, Wingman, The Art of the Whispered Raven, Volume 1. Normally, it is $10 plus shipping, and the holiday price is $7 or $15 for the personal sketch inside the book plus shipping. We have a Walking Dead Michonne print, which is in sizes 8.5 by 11 or 11 by 14. Normally, they're $15 to $20 plus shipping. The holiday price is $10 to $15. I will also knock off prices for multiple copies of the print or multiple prints, because we have a bunch of prints here. The Dino Head color print, the Chinese Dragon color print. Those are limited runs. Akira, Thor, and a zombie. And what I'm going to be right back. I'm going to actually get the prints so you guys can see the size live. Okay, this is an actual size of 11 by 17. As you can see, it's pretty sizable. This is the Thor one. And this is the 11 by 17. So as you can see, it's pretty well done, pretty well sized. Good solid thickness on the board that you're getting. And all of those images that you saw, I will show them again here in a second. Whether it's the Thor, the zombie, the Akira, the Dino Head, the Chinese Dragon, the Michonne, Walking Dead, Kirk McCoy, or the T-Rex. They're all about that same size, order 8.5 by 11. Be right back. Sorry about that, folks. Had to take care of something real quick. You guys probably didn't hear it in the background, but my father, who lives with me, called me downstairs for a second to ask me something important. But this is the comparative size of the big 8.5 by 11 versus this is the 8.5 by 11 in this hand versus the 11 by 17. So you can see the difference. That it's good 110 stock, 120 pound stock, card stock for each image. Whether you're black and white or color. And we've got, let's see what all we got in here. This is the zombie one. A little bit closer. Look for it. Now, if you decide to buy multiple size prints or you decide to buy multiple images, I will give a discount. I don't know exactly what those are yet. You can email me at the email address you see below. Subject holiday sale, and inquire. Tell me what you want. We'll work something out or try to work something out. But it has to go until tomorrow midnight Eastern Standard Time, so that I have enough time to get everything mailed through the post office to get them to you for time for Christmas. Okay. So we're going to go back to the pricing real quick. Normally, these are normally they're $10 to $15. The holiday sale price for the black and white ones here are $5 and $10. Again, you know, $5 and $10 for Thor and the zombie that I showed you for $5 for the smaller, $10 for the larger. Akira as well. Same for the Dino and the Chinese Dragon, they're $5 and $10. And Walking Dead is $10 and $15 for that particular one. But if you happen to buy the others, I might even give you a little bit more of a discount on the Walking Dead one. And if you want to buy any of that stuff, first off, inquire, quote the Raven LBR72@gmail.com, subject matter holiday sale, or Lewis Bright Raven at Yahoo holiday sale. These are also where you pay me via PayPal. But first, email me and inquire to make sure that what you want is available and what the price points are exactly before you send me any money. I've also got eBay marketing going on at www.ebay.com/user/Lewis Bright Raven. I'm going to see if I can do a quick share of that with you in just a little bit here. Just give me a second. I have 53 items on eBay right now for the sale. And let's see if we can show some of them. 23 are ending today. Actually, in the next half hour to 40 minutes, next hour or so. Yeah, I got about 23 of them ending in the next hour or so. So what we'll do here is see if I can share that instead. This would be an example of what's available. These are the original artworks. And I'm going to show you some other stuff here as well. These are some of the Inktober sketches I did last month. Again, these are originals that you can find at eBay. I'll see what I can do about getting that down there a little bit more so you can see a little bit better. That one doesn't show me a better review. Okay. I want to see if I can find a good. Nope, it doesn't. It gives you a little bit better view of what that dragon print is. There's a few left on that are available there as well. Again, these expire tomorrow on eBay as well as there. So there's that going on. So make sure you check our eBay site out. Again, that is going to be hold on a second. At ebay.com user/Lewis Brightraven. That's where you can find those images and other pieces for sale. Like I said, about 30 of them are going to be expired within the next 20 minutes to an hour. So you definitely want to get over there right now if you can. Check that out. And again, they'll be through tomorrow. They'll still be up. And then after that, the sale will be over because I can't guarantee shipping in time for Christmas after tomorrow, per se. So remember, tomorrow the holiday sale ends. And I am going to, again, be sure to visit the eBay links mentioned that I just mentioned here in the video. Next Wednesday will be Star Wars themed subject for the podcast. And that's because on the 19th, I will be at a special event. Whoops. Nope, it's not doing it. There we go. I'll be at a special event on the 19th at Dutch Square Mall Theater here in Columbia, South Carolina, which will be a special preview of the Star Wars Rise of Skywalker show, where I will have prints available for Star Wars, and I will show those later on this week. Do a special thing on Facebook and here on YouTube to show those. And then on the 21st, we will do a wrestling themed show because people have been asking about the wrestling goings on in wrestling, and we'll talk a little about wrestling comics and stuff like that. And that will be on a Saturday. And then I will not be on, let me check the dates here. Thursday, the day after Christmas, will be Who's Got the Swag. I'll share what I got for Christmas. You guys can come online and show me what you guys got. And we can all sit there and thump our chests and be cool about what we got. And then on the Saturday the 28th, we'll do a year-end special. I'll talk about comics that I haven't covered throughout the year. I'll talk about my favorite comics that I have read this year. And we'll see if we can get some other guests involved as well. I don't want to mention anybody by name yet until we got people guaranteed, like as of the day. After what's happened the last few times, I know, Armand, I'm not mad at you. But it's just funny when I try to plan things ahead of time and then the last second things get screwed up through no one's fault. I mean, it's just things happen. So that is what it is. And so that will be our schedule for the remainder of this season, this year. And then in January, I will start season 2 of Quoth the Raven, and we'll have hopefully a different format a little bit. I don't want to talk about that yet until we've finalized it. And again, if you want to check that out, you can go to, if you want to check out any of the stuff that I've advertised for either myself or Mr. Smith, again, you can either go to GLADSTONE'S for Mark and Armand's Gladstones and other works that Mark's published. They've got stock of. And you can either email me at the address you see below, subject matter holiday sale, and ask about whatever it is that you saw that you like, or you can go to eBay, look up Lewis Bright Raven, and or use the tag that I gave on your video a little bit earlier. Just rewind, pause, copy and paste, or whatever. Because unfortunately, for some reason, this silly thing isn't letting me type it in and post it on here. I don't know why. I apologize for that. I wish I could do that a little better. But again, if you want anything else for that, that's the best way to do it. And I want to thank you all for watching. And we'll see you on the, let's see, where's my darn thing at here? We'll see you on the 18th for Star Wars night. And until then, ooh, it's not doing something right. Oh, there it is. Okay. Until then, until the 18th, this is Lewis Bright Raven signing off. Have a good night. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.